boy bands.
I mean, but there's a difference because I feel like when you say boy band, it's more considered towards pop, like pop music. Because Clive Davis was the driving force behind that era of music with TRL, Britney Spears, all those type of people. It's more so pop when you think of boy bands. Because the first thing you think about when you hear boy bands, NSYNC, right off the bat. They were like the catalyst for all the boy bands and all those things. But when I think about Boyz II Men, and I think about like people like the Temptations and all those are groups. Those are like soulful groups versus pop and boy bands because those guys were in sync. They were like teenagers. They were boys.
Were the Jackson 5 a boys band? When you consider the Jackson 5, because they were straight teens and boys.
They were.
I'm going to need you to shut your mouth.
Don't touch on the preciousness that is Michael Jackson.
So you give Joe Jackson the creation of boy bands?
I'm going to need you to shut up. Because you just blew my mind.
We're not going to touch on this because Michael Jackson already did.
No. We're going to edit that out. Nope. We're going to lose some viewers on that one.
No, come on. You know what? For an iconic group sensation, they were a sensation, and for that time, they were revolutionary.
Yes,
because they came out with a brand new type of music. It was an easy listening to pop type of music. And really, that's what really skyrocketed the Jackson 5. And not just Michael Jackson, LaToya Jackson, they were all... Janet Jackson, yeah. It wasn't just one particular Jackson that made that big. And Michael did help a lot.
I mean, Michael was the driving force.
Michael was the driving force.
He was like that little cute kid with the afro singing his heart out.
But he's like a Justin Timberlake for
that time period.
For that time period. In which, there was one particular main attraction to the band. And once he went solo, he did a greater thing for himself. And left everybody else behind.
But, now... for the listeners listening to this, what I want you to do is to go on YouTube and do this. Because someone in the Jackson 5 stole their moment while they were on their last farewell tour. Tito Jackson.
Tito
was on stage with the rest of the Jackson 5 at this last concert, and he was gyrating like there was no tomorrow. Like, all the Jackson 5 brothers were staring at him like he was high off of crack cocaine.
Please tell me this is their ABC. ABC?
No, this was like, I don't know, they were playing some funky bass music, and Tito is just grinding. I mean, the way he's grinding...
Like, how close to the screen were you with him gyrating like
that?
Made you have to sit on the couch. You got all
Did you need 4 wet naps and a mop bucket?
The only reason why I saw this video because it was a meme, and it made me laugh like this could not be real. And when you actually watch this video of him gyrating, he has on these like sparkly silver pants. He's got the Jerry curl smoothed back. He's wearing a tank top, and he's just gyrating. And Michael Jackson is staring at him with so much hate and venom. It is like
that's when the moonwalk was created. Michael Jackson was right backstage, started just going backwards.
He just started going backwards. He's like, "What the hell is Tito doing right now?"
It's not weird at all.
Wow. And Michael Jackson tried to outdance Tito, but Tito stole that moment. It was the greatest thing I ever seen.
I'm gonna YouTube it.
You're gonna have to, bro. It is the greatest moment in like music history ever.
But, I mean, when it comes down to it, you still got to look at it. Michael Jackson is still that dude. Michael Jackson is still... I mean, like, I understand when you say...
Regardless of all the things that he's done, in his personal life, appalling to a lot of people. You still have to put him on a musical pedestal.
See, I think in the music industry and in all this other stuff, I think... Like, look at R. Kelly. Like, now R. Kelly's coming out and all this stuff is coming out about him. Did people forget that he married Aaliyah when she was 15? Like, people just completely forgot all about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, in that time period, like, certain things were more accepted. Like, now you look at this Me Too movement, right? And you see all the stuff that's coming about it. Like, locker room talk just isn't locker room talk anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's a progression in the culture. It goes back to the Power Ranger talk. Like in the 90s, that was where it was at. Was watching cheesy fight scenes and people getting bounced off of whatever it could be. And now you look at that and you're just like, oh man, like I want to see the Jason Bourne fights. I want to see the John Wick fights. And that's a progression in the culture as a whole.
Yeah, you're right. Speaking of John Wick, the newest John Wick, Keanu Reeves definitely should not make any more John Wick movies.
He said he's going to make as many John Wick movies as the public wants.
He was moving
that could go up into
slow.
20 John Wick movies.
I understand that from the first movie, he was been running his ass off to keep himself alive. But this one, the fight scenes were kind of bad. They were kind of bad, to be honest with you. They were not good.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
It was not good.
I went to go see Detective Pikachu instead.
No, the one scene, he's fighting these two guys, and they're kung fu guys, okay? And the only time Keanu Reeves knew kung fu was in The Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this scene, he's just slapping the shit out of these Chinese guys, and that's all he's doing is just slapping them. And I'm like, really? That's how you win this fight?
He's not even punching them out or nothing.
Punching them.
Yeah.
And he's literally confused on how to hit these guys, so he just starts slapping the one guy for 5 times, and it's just, I didn't like it.
See?
I didn't like it at all, bro.
And you know what else, right? Is you gotta stop certain things when it goes that way.
Yeah.
You can't have Jason Bourne, and then you had the guy who did the next Bourne movie after Matt Damon was done, and then Matt Damon comes back. I've already checked out.
Oh yeah.
I've already checked out after the third one. If there's a new one with a new guy in it, I'm already checked out of it. So if Keanu's not the Avengers movie, so I started watching all the Avengers movies in order because I wanted to start getting to the end. Everyone's talking about Endgame. I can't get past the fact that Ed Norton is not the Incredible Hulk.
Oh my god!
I cannot get past because he was such a good Bruce Banner that now when I see Mark Ruffalo, who's not bad by the way, I'm not saying he's bad at all as being the Hulk. One of the best scenes is when he's they ask him how he's always angry and how does he control it, and he says I don't, and he just turns around and
I'm always angry.
That's one of the best scenes in all of them so far. But Ed Norton was that dude, man. Ed Norton, when he punched that guy and smashed him off the tree, that was just the best Hulk movie.
But do you know why he's not a part of the Marvel Universe anymore? Because apparently he's an actor.
Oh yeah.
They said he tried to take complete control of the projects. He was demanding, and they just pretty much hated him.
He's probably the real guy from American History X. That's probably who he is.
Legit.
His shirt off, there's swastikas all over his body.
I can see it.
He's trying to white out them at night.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, nope.
They'll never know. This is gonna be green tomorrow anyway.
But still, though, I just think at the end of the day, you have to kind of keep it, or just leave the Hulk out. Because think of how many other people they left out. They left out Wolverine. They left all these other people from the Ultimate Avengers or whatever. They were never in it.
That's because Sony. It was the whole thing between Sony and Disney. They couldn't be a part of it, right?
No. What happened was that the Hulk actually falls under a whole different genre of not necessarily movie ownership. Marvel doesn't own the rights to Hulk
as an individual movie.
You can add him as an extra to a movie, and that's why he's in all the Avengers movies. But to have him in his own movie, you need to be under, I think it's Universal or whatever the banner was. The same thing with Wolverine, X-Men, they were all part of Fox. And now that Disney has bought out Fox, they can now bring everybody together into the whole universe.
See, I was always under the assumption, someone had told me a while ago that Marvel Studios was under a hardship, and they sold off the rights to those characters for a limited time. Let's say Spider-Man.
Yep.
I think Spider-Man was a sole exclusive to where Sony had it for 20 years or something like that.
Yep.
That's why they came out with movie after movie after movie. Let's reboot it because we're going to boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean?
Let's keep killing Uncle Ben off.
Yes. Let's make Aunt Jane the smoking hot, right? Isn't she
Aunt
May,
Aunt May, yeah.
Aunt May, right? In the new one, isn't she? In her
beautiful
Marissa Tomei.
Marissa Tomei, yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a big step up from the lady that he was living with in the first one. You know what I mean?
Old decrepit Aunt May. That's very
yeah, dude. And the next version is going to be a 14-year-old Aunt May, and Spider-Man's going to be a baby.
Yes. It actually shows it being created. That's how the movie begins. That's the it's the intro. But like when it comes to that, like that's crazy to find out that that's how they brought the. You know, when you look at it, like that's what caused the whole Marvel universe to be where it's at.
Well, it was the collapsing of comic book genre. The whole comic book genre had collapsed for a while, and I think it was back in the 90s, like late 80s, early 90s. That's what happened. The whole comic book industry collapsed down. Marvel was like, "Hey, how are we going to recoup some of this money?" Well, we're selling off comic books. It's not really doing that well, but we can sell off movie rights. And Fox, Universal, I think there was 3 or 4 different actual companies that bought all the characters. Sony, this is an interesting fact. Sony could have bought all of the rights to every Marvel character for like pennies on the dollar. I think it was like $1 billion, where they could have owned all of Marvel Entertainment right now.
That whole big giant poster
could have been
of like 500 characters.
Every single character they could have bought for $1 billion. Wow. Or like several $100 million or whatever. I know it was like really, really cheap.
That's really cheap.
No, well, dude, they just made $1 billion movie. One movie was $1 billion.
I say they could have taken some of that billion and given it to me.
Then you create your own universe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of just me being happy as hell.
Like one's like a sad Will, one's a happy Will, one's dressed like Shaq.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Will, the god of farting.
Straight up, man. Straight up, bro.
Well, a lot of things like that. Like I worked for Blockbuster for years and years, and I was there towards the downfall of Blockbuster. And Viacom, Blockbuster bought themselves out of Viacom and had to pay them so much money. Redbox came to them with an idea. Now, I don't know how true it is, but I'm under the understanding that they wanted to sell the idea of Redbox to Blockbuster for $1 million.
Yep.
Right? Blockbuster said, no one will ever want to get rid of the brick and mortar. So what they did, just like, look at Kmart. The reason Kmart went under is because Walmart started to build Walmarts within 5 miles of every Kmart.
Oh, yeah.
So when you need to get something at 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night, you don't have to wait for Kmart to open at 9 o'clock. Boom, let me get Will's money out of his wallet now. Why make him wait? You know, and then all of a sudden you just get smothered, and then Amazon attacks you, and this one attacks you.
Yeah, it's a huge online presence as well.
You know?
The whole online purchasing, like that's why Amazon's so big right now. Yeah. Is because you can go on right now. You can go to Amazon.com. I don't know, whatever you want. They have
cat posters.
You could buy cat posters. You could buy a coffin. You could buy new wheels. You can buy whatever you want.
You can buy one that's decked out the way you want it to be.
Yeah, fully customization. You can get one like Big Macs on it.
Get a Louis Vuitton coffin. That'd be dope.
See, though, I don't want to. When I go, I don't want to be in a coffin. Though I want to be propped up. Like, when you come in and you want to give me a five like this,
you're like, hey, look, it's Tom Durden. Yay!
If you don't come up to me and give me that love, like you don't know who I am. You know what I mean?
Man.
And I want a gangster rap to be played too. Like, I don't want none of that.
Compton.
Yeah. Some pop,
old Tupac.
And then and to each your own about religion, but like to me, like if a priest comes in, right? Because I feel like sometimes people are good with religion and they believe in it, and I think a lot of people just kind of grab it for money it's worth. Like if you're gonna come and you're gonna do it for free, I'm all for it. But if you want $1 from me, don't even come and try to say your last prayers to me because I'm good with it. I'm stingy. I'm stingy now in real life. I'm gonna be stingy now in the afterlife. That's how I feel.
You're gonna take it with you.
You know what I mean?
Just toss it right in the coffin. Be like, psh.
I'm good. Like, oh, you came for free? Great. And you know what else, right? Is when I go...
Yo, everybody gets a money shooter. Like a money gun. And then you just gotta spray it all over my coffin when you...
Just making it rain. I make it rain on me.
I'm gonna... When I go, right... I'm gonna, you know how like they have that dinner afterward, the luncheon afterwards,
or a repass,
like I don't